Well, yeah, thanks for doing this interview.
Absolutely.
How would you address what your current role is?
The main thing that I do, the thing that I spend the most of my time on is working with Red Giant now. I work part-time for them about 3.5 days a week, creating the Cheap Tricks tutorial series. And then the other half of my time, or the other couple of days, are spent on keeping a social media presence for Action Movie Kid. I'm still every now and then helping with a motion picture that comes along. I make stuff for people to watch is sort of what I tell people I do.
Did you grow up in LA?
I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and came out here to go to film school, and then stayed around, got a job right out of it, which was pretty cool.
What film school did you go to?
USC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I went there right as they were trying to start up an animation department, which they didn't quite have together yet, and I ended up doing my own weird thing, which is sort of specializing in visual effects and stuff like that. I think I've used After Effects probably since like 98 or something like that. I ended up using it because I had a summer job in high school as a general production company. They did like local commercials and stuff like that. And they were aware of After Effects and they needed somebody to figure it out.
You said you got hired like right out of college?
I did an internship at Paramount Studios while I was in college. 6 times I applied to Dreamworks, both the motion picture and the animation side, and didn't get any of those. I didn't even get an interview for any of them. Since it was just a habit now to apply for stuff, I was like, well, there's a PA gig there, I'll apply for that, and got interviewed the day before commencement and a job that started the next Monday, which was insane.
Wow.
So I often joke that that's exactly how film school is supposed to work.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yes.
Did you find that the stuff you learned in film school was useful for your career?
Film school didn't teach me any specific skills that I use now. And in fact, what it did more was it at least put me in an environment where I needed to collaborate with a greater number of people than just myself sitting at my desk. So in that way, it was cool that USC is sort of like a microcosm of what the industry feels like when you're in it. You're sort of on your own. You have to pitch your own films. You don't always get to make your own things. And so you get an idea of what different roles in the industry are. And obviously I ended up specializing in visual effects. But all of my practical skills I learned from Aaron Rabinowitz and Andrew Kramer and Creative Cow, just combing through every page on there and every video tutorial I could find throughout college, teaching myself different After Effects skills, which I ended up applying to my skill set once I got a job.
Was there a draw to like move on to other avenues in the film world, or were you like targeting visual effects?
Ultimately, my skill set was so specialized that I ended up just like, they kept on going to me for the thing I was really good at until I formed a department around myself as this After Effects department that would work for different movies. And then Action Movie Kid ended up being this thing that I sort of accidentally stumbled upon once I had my kid and was making videos of him. And that was the first time that I had my career really explode into something new where I got to be more central to the creative, which was pretty cool.
You transitioned from doing the Dreamworks After Effects department right into doing the Action Movie Kid videos that everybody in the world has seen at this point.
I did. It was really fun. My friends who were having kids at the same time were all sharing videos on Facebook. I wanted to do the same, but I wanted to make mine look like we were endangering our child a lot. Because my parents weren't on Facebook, I threw them all on YouTube for them to see them in a little channel. 2 months after posting these for my parents, there were 1 million hits, and we were on Good Morning America the next morning. It was this really exciting, huge thing that I thought, this is going to be a fantastic couple of weeks. The thing that I didn't expect was a reach out for representation. I signed with UTA. Since then, UTA has been really awesome at turning what I did into these commercial opportunities. It spiraled into me doing between 50 and 60 commercials for Toys R Us later that year. Eventually, after about 10 months of dipping my toes in both worlds, I eventually had a meeting with my bosses at Dreamworks and was like, hey guys, and they're like, we know, it's cool. You go do your thing.
There's this split of people who want to do, Freddie Wong style, corridor style, Action Movie Kid style stuff. And then those who want to move on to doing like the blockbusters and working at Dreamworks. You had a taste of both worlds. Do you have like a preference?
I loved working at Dreamworks, and I had a tremendous 10 years there. But there was an element of you're working on one project for a really long time. It turned out to be really, really fun and almost necessary for me to make the Action Movie Kids even while I was employed full time, because I needed an outlet for ideas that would pop into my head. In that way, a corridor model is a really, really great way to exercise your creativity, come up with concepts, execute them, figure out which friends work in the right capacities as, different filmmaking roles, and you could have a really small team.
If you don't have friends, just get your children to do it for you.
Exactly.
What I've always liked about the Action Movie Kids is I've never grown up. Nobody who works at ProductionCrate has grown up. So we're all children, and I feel like living your dream, living your imagination is something that you have embraced for your family. When your son is like crawling on a crib, you like pan down to reveal like a cityscape below him.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And that kind of like that, like we're in the real world and then suddenly we're like in the imagination world. I've always loved just that feeling. With everything going on right now, there's new Footage Crate users or parents who are, looking to get into visual effects. Do you have any tips for them?
I really recommend, if parents find their kid into something, Avatar, Last Airbender, or Frozen, or something like that, it's really worth going to something like ProductionCrate, where you can look up if there is a specific tutorial on something your kids would love to participate in. They're usually short, they're funny, and they come with assets, which is a big help, especially if you're just starting out. And with like a free trial of After Effects and the free stuff available at Footage Crate, you could set aside a couple hours and come up with something that'll delight your kids. The more you practice that and the more you can find time to do something like that, the better you'll get, and the more you'll start to realize how the program works, so you can start to really bend all of these assets to your will.
I wasn't even fishing for that, but that's a fantastic testimonial. Thank you. What made you want to do like the guru style stuff?
I've always been tremendously grateful for the video tutorial producing community. You reach a point where you have this set of skills and you want to figure out how you could have a greater community around you who does similar things. Andrew Kramer and Aaron Rabinowitz and Seth Worley, I loved watching all of their stuff. And so it was a natural thing for me to wish that I could emulate my heroes in that way. So I started putting together at least how I was doing some stuff on ActionMovieDad. And for it felt like almost 3 years in a row, Aaron Rabinowitz would call me every couple months and ask if I'd consider doing stuff for Red Giant. I eventually caved after years. It turned out to be tremendously rewarding. The thing that I'm good at doing, showing other people both that I'm good at it and how to do it themselves, and hopefully bolsters the community to produce more exciting videos that are just, put more imagination into the world.
Why did you choose to do the longer format versus like the shorter format?
Originally, I pitched them as 20 minutes, and I slowly started adding back in more and more things and realized, oh shoot, if I want to talk about fractal noise, I want people to understand not just how to do this one effect, I want them to know why it's so cool. It sort of accidentally became that I was trying to explain both how great After Effects is, and then kind of by the end, oh yeah, and here's how you would totally apply it to this movie effect.
Can you tell us like where do we follow your work?
Follow me on Twitter at ActionMovieKid. Our YouTube channel is the best way to support us if you'd like to subscribe to that. And we also are on Instagram as The Action Movie Kid.
Can you say make it awesome for us, please?
Make it awesome.
Perfect. Thank you. You're going to see that everywhere on the internet now.
Perfect.